As is tradition with Formula One philosophy, right before the season, Sean and I hash out the Constructors Championship and who we think is going to finish where. This annual tradition is brought to you by whiskey and beer. And sometimes it gets out of hand. And I imagine this year is going to be no different. I'm going to try and limit us this year to a 5-minute limit to get our point across. Because if we can't explain who we think is going to be where in 5 minutes, we don't deserve to be Formula One commentators. All right. That being said, I imagine Sean and I will go over this time as much as we were trying not to. But that's what Formula One philosophy is all about. F1philosophypod@gmail.com, F1_philosophy at Instagram, and F1philosophy at YouTube. Keep liking our stuff and subscribing to our stuff, please. We want to do this full time and not our jobs, especially after the long day I just had. Sean, how you doing?
I'm doing all right, Nick. Been a busy day for me, but other than that, not terrible.
Let's not get this out of the way. We like doing this, but it's better than we do this today on a busy day than start and have a full day off tomorrow, right? That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, well, we'll see about a full day off.
No such thing with kids. I understand now.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. Sean, the timer is going to be on. This part is 11 to 6. So yesterday we released the over-unders. Today, 11 to 6. Tomorrow, you will get 5 to 1. And then, I think in 1 week's time, actually in 1 week and 1 hour, the Australian Grand Prix will be starting.
Yes, it will.
Insane, right?
As long as everybody gets there and all their cars get there.
That's interesting. What do you have to say? Is there talk about somebody not making it on time? Williams again?
Given where you work, I'm sure you've seen the news today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I did see that, yes.
Apparently teams and equipment are still stuck in Bahrain.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, Donald Trump is a Zach Brown fan, so he's trying to make Indy look good. That's what I take from this. But, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Wow, I did not see that coming, but okay.
But this does mean you might get one of your wishes, Nick, to see 2 Middle Eastern Grand Prix not on the calendar.
Trump train 2026 for Nick. That's what that means. Okay.
That's unfortunate.
Anyway, see, we're already off. We're already off course like we usually are. But
I don't know why you fight it, Nick.
I'm just trying to keep this as tight as possible, right? We've been getting some good feedback from our last couple episodes because we get to the point. Everybody loved our toss-up episode.
Did they?
No, nobody likes us. All right. I can't remember. So you've been listening to the older podcaster last year. Who started last year?
Oh, I haven't been paying attention to what I'm listening to.
Oh. Glowing endorsement, as usual. Okay. So you have the honors this year since you are on home field advantage to start. You can do 11 and 10 whenever you're ready. I'll do a 10-minute timer, 5 minutes each team for you.
Okay.
To get your point across. All right, Sean. Who do you have this year finishing 11th and then 10th?
I have Aston Martin finishing 11th this year. I think that's kind of what everybody expects to happen. And the news coming out of Honda is not good. Not good at all. Obviously, the car showed up in Barcelona late and didn't look phenomenal as far as performance went. When they showed up in Bahrain, 4 seconds off the pace, and then found an issue, and Honda released a statement saying that they were limited to running, 6-lap stints, something like that. And basically, on the final day, they did 7 or 8 installation laps and packed it in, and Honda put out a statement saying that due to a shortage in supplies, they have to stop running.
That's bad.
Since then, they've found a vibration problem in the engine that is killing batteries, and they are struggling to remedy it in time for the start of the season.
Oh my God.
So when you have two top-notch drivers like Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll, it's going to be hard to come back from a deficit as large as seems to be built into that car. I'm confident that they will get over it, but it may take the entire season to get over it.
Mm-hmm.
And we've already seen Alonso's frustration in testing come out to the point where he's intentionally trying to destroy the engines. That's my feeling of what I saw, but he very clearly was overdriving that engine in frustration right before it broke down, which is something that you and I talked about in his previous Honda attempt at McLaren, where he was the one breaking down more frequently than Jensen because he doesn't know how to handle an engine properly. So I don't see it being good. I know Newey will do what he has to do to get over it, and people are already saying that a lot of these problems are because of Newey coming in and changing things. Which, yeah, I can see that. I don't necessarily want to say it's blame, but the way he works and what he demands from the team is going to be one that creates problems. So there's that. That being said, since the test, Andy Cowell, who is the former managing director for Mercedes High Performance Powertrains, has been in Japan with Honda trying to solve the problems. So they have a lot of horsepower behind it. They're doing what they need to do, but these are not simple problems to fix. So for that, I think at the very least it's half a season before they score points.
Yeah. That's definitely a safe bet the way it's going right now.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it a million times before, like you insinuated, these two drivers do not know how to solve problems. These two drivers just get frustrated and walk away.
Yep.
And that's going to exacerbate it. Yeah.
One walks away, one destroys the car.
That's quite the conspiracy theory you're landing on this podcast right here, that you think Fernando Alonso is 9/11ing his own engines.
Not intentionally. I think it's just his lack of emotional capacity. 40-something-year-old baby.
45 this year.
Exactly.
You did it, and you have 45 seconds if you want to add something about Aston Martin.
No, I'm good. We'll buffer the 45 seconds.
All right, so yeah, I'll just say this quickly. This is not good right now. This is the worst situation you can possibly have. We know teams that have no testing time end up in horrible situations. Alpine 2023, Alpine 2024, Alpine 2025.
But McLaren 98.
Not much testing.
Their Mercedes powertrain in 98 had not done a race distance before the Australian Grand Prix, beginning of the season.
Yeah, you have said that before. Yeah.
I think they were saying they got to the longest they had run was like a 67% race.
Well,
so it's not the end of the world, but I think given the scope of the problem, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, safe bet.
Yeah,
not much else to say. Who do you got for 10?
Alpine.
Wow. Wow, that's a curveball. Sorry, go on.
I will either be the only one who predicts this and gets it right, or I will be drastically wrong. They have Mercedes engines, sure. I don't think that's enough to get them off the bottom. The only thing keeping them off the true bottom now that we have 11 teams is the fact that Aston is so bad. So Pierre seems to be doing what he needs to do. He got out there in testing. He put in a bunch of laps. He did some good running. I think Alpine is potentially hiding their hand a little bit in testing, like all the Mercedes running teams are.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what happens. We'll talk about this maybe in the Mercedes part of it. Teams are no longer running their own fuel and oil partners.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So everybody who runs one engine runs the same fuel and oil. And that makes sense in this regulation set. So now there are concerns or there's statements and rumors coming out that the Mercedes fuel, which is from Petronas, is not yet homologated. What does that mean for Australia? I don't know. But also this is now Alpine has to partner with Petronas for this fuel and everything else. The level of complexity around the change that they're making concerns me. They're used to talking to Renault engineers as their own company, let's say, and dealing with it that way. And now they've got a bunch of Mercedes engineers who have come in and they've got to learn all new systems, all new everything. So while the car may perform better than it did, I think there's a lot in the background that's going to cause problems.
Interesting. That's a hot take right there, but well articulated.
And at the end of the day, it's still Alpine. They've still got Flavio there.
Colapinto is not a lock for anything. Right. Yeah. Like you can, and you maybe even Gasly.
No, and I didn't touch on him at all, but in my notes that I have here, Colapinto is invisible.
Yeah.
I don't even recall seeing him on the track. That's how nondescript he was in testing.
I have one where he fucked up his start and spun out before that.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yeah. Yeah, that is either the call of the century or the worst call of the century. And I like that. Like, because, yeah.
I mean, it was either that or pin Ferrari to 7th place like I did last year or the year before, whatever.
2024.
Yeah.
Which for a while you looked really good with that. And then they had that second half. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I guess they are still just a fuck up team. Like, we can't just assume an engine's going to fix everything.
No, if the chassis is bad, the chassis is bad. That being said, they were the first team to execute the active rear wing the way the FIA had demonstrated it. Folding down instead of up. Most teams went for the conventional rear hinged wing, so opens a nice big gap between the two planes. That's not what the FIA had on all their models. The FIA showed it hinged at the front so that it lays flat. And I heard Gary Anderson analyze the two options, and his concerns were about being able to detach the flow and how it detaches one versus the other. And he was claiming that laying down was probably going to be worse, but it seems to be the opposite, actually. That laying down may actually have a benefit.
Like, is Ferrari lane, like that special contraption Ferrari had?
We'll talk about that when we get to Ferrari.
Interesting.
But then Audi has now come in and changed the way that their wing operates to the Alpine. So
Interesting. You did it in 10 minutes. Good job.
I'm punctual if I'm nothing else.
This year, I think, is all about bold takes, because this is like, you have nothing to lose this year. This can go any which way. And I really liked that. I did not see that one coming. Everybody, you're right. Everybody is taking Alpine high this year. I think everybody thinks the Mercedes engine is just the right hook that's going to knock everybody out. But we'll see.
Nobody's considering what's going to happen when they change the measurement.
The compression ratio?
Yeah, in June.
If they do.
No, it's done. It's agreed. They're changing the method to measure it at 130 degrees.
Oh. Okay, because I thought maybe because Mercedes had some other aspects of other teams' things. I obviously don't understand the technicalities, but Mercedes was going to say, okay, if you do that to us, we'll do something to you. But I guess, yeah.
And that may happen, but ultimately they're going to change the way the compression ratio is measured in June to measure it at 130 degrees to the 16-1 and not the 18-1. So if it doesn't meet 16-1 at 130 degrees, it's not compliant.
So we might have like a 2009 Braun situation where Mercedes might just rack up as much points as they can in the first half.
Could be. Look for the drop off in June.
Interesting. Every time you've pointed these out over the last 3 years, you've always been right. By the way, McLaren last year, you've nailed that. So listen up, everybody. I just want to say before I start my timer, this was a really hard list for me. I have my original list, and then usually I write it down and I go back and forth and I change things around. And this year I didn't change anything except one team. One team I changed around, and I have my original list here. I'm just going to go off of that. I'm going to go off of instinct because this could go any which way, and I have no idea. So I'm going to go based on what my specialty is sporting trends and just competitiveness, like competitive trends. Sean's specialty is engineering the technicals. I think that's what makes this podcast really good, is because you have one aspect from you and one aspect from me, and sometimes you're right and sometimes I'm right.
You're rarely ever right.
Yeah, shut the whatever. Nailed Sauber last year or 2 years ago. Yeah, so let's start my list here. So forgive me, you're probably going to be pissed about who I have for 11th.
Do it.
Audi.
Okay.
I think, and this is based just like on historical trends and his past. This is a lot of where I'm coming from here, but also I'm not confident about this anymore. It's just I don't know where else to put him. And I kind of like, not everybody else ahead of them. Aston Martin's looking kind of harsh right now where I had them originally. But I just think the idea of like new engine, new team is not something to underestimate here. Reliability, performance, it can be hampered. And yeah, well, okay. Well, you want to say something already?
No, that's fine. That's a valid point to make. But if there's one thing Audi knows how to do in a motorsport sense, it's build an engine. They were the first manufacturer to run diesel in an endurance race and not just win, but be absolutely dominant. They currently have some decent race engines elsewhere. Now, they can't make a road engine for shit, but that's a different story. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of talk around the paddock about this engine. It sounds different, smells different, looks different. Mm-hmm. Apparently, they have the largest turbo on the grid, which is not great for non-power dominant circuits, but power dominant circuits, it's going to benefit them.
Azerbaijan, Monza, stuff like that.
Yeah, Vegas.
Vegas. Yeah. Listen, like I said, I'm not too confident about this anymore. But this is the original list, and this is where my mind was at last year when I saw them. It's an unfortunate reality. By their own estimation, this is going to be a tough year for them. And that just might be them underestimating themselves so that they can overachieve, which I can see that. And I won't be upset if they finish off the bottom, because I kind of like this team. I kind of like where this team is going. I kind of like who they have in terms of engineering, like with Binotto and Wheatley. I'm not crazy about their drivers. Specifically, I think, obviously, Hülkenberg, which this is an aspect I think nobody is really talking about, is that these last 2 years, the grid has been really close. It's been within a second, and I think that's benefited Hülkenberg, because when he's close, he can show any ability that he has. But when everything is separate, which this year I think is going to be, I think we're going to see a bit of divergence instead of convergence. Mm-hmm. I think that's not going to help him. That's not going to help his case. And he's been prone to disappear these last 2 years. What's going to happen this year? His delta's getting worse. He's finishing now, instead of 5th to 7th, he's finishing 8th, 9th, 10th mostly, with a couple of outliers like we saw in Silverstone and Spain. Great performances. He's capable of it. But I don't know. I think his average rate is coming down. I think that's going to hurt Audi. Yeah, we know he can help develop, but are they going to be able to develop fast enough this year? Are they going to be able to catch up once the compression ratio thing in June all comes together? I don't know. My instinct is to say unreliability and performance might hinder them this year.
Just a comment on, are they going to be able to develop? We've seen that they can develop. They showed up in Spain with one car, and 2 weeks later they showed up in Bahrain with a completely different car. They're already technically on their B-spec car and the season hasn't started.
Is it good though?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but let's see. But let's see. Like, is either good? And by their estimation, they're going to have a tough year. And I'd like to think that that's going to be the case. I like this team in the future, though. I think once everything's kind of normalized next year, this team is going to be a threat. But by their own estimation, they'll be in the midfield 27, 28. So I'm going to take them at their word and put them at the bottom. Just a comment about Bortoletto, this is going to be a really tough year for him.
Yes.
Really tough year for him. He has one job, is to be better than Hulkenberg so that they can't fire him. And if Hulkenberg outclasses him, this might be his last year.
It might. Hopefully it's not. Mm-hmm. It's going to really depend on who can get a hold of the new driver-dependent features of racing, which we should probably talk about that at some point in time, because I got my explanation of the new regs completely wrong in some very key areas last year.
When we finish the second part of this episode, after we do our drivers' champion predictions, we'll talk a little bit.
Yeah,
I'll add that on. All right. Yeah, not confident about Audi in last, but I'm going to stick with it. And number 10, Racing Bulls. Yeah, I hate this team.
I know.
I hate this team. No, I picked them last year, and when you set up a team for failure, it just kind of gets on my nerves after a while. Like, I don't know how much basketball you follow, I don't know how much hockey you follow, but like, think of like the Arizona Coyotes.
That's a team?
Back in the day, right? They're now the Utah Mammoth or whatever they are.
Oh, I don't even know what sport this is.
Yeah, hockey, yeah.
Really?
Allegedly, yeah. A team that just sits there and does nothing and is not meant to do anything and is just kind of have a loose agreement with other teams to be their bitch, to take bad contracts because they have such poor, like with the Arizona Coyotes, such poor attendance that they're only there by the grace of the NHL. Another example is the Sacramento Kings that just keeps losing, keeps getting it wrong, keeps drafting wrong. That's how I'm seeing RB. They're just a team that just kind of just sits there and just doesn't want to succeed. They can't because Red Bull won't let them. But they just kind of just do nothing. And every time there's a major regulation change, they are second last. They were second last in 2022, second last in 2009. 2014, actually, they were seventh. But behind them was Lotus, Renault, Marussia, Sauber. Teams that did not care. I think they finished second last this year. And I'm not liking the direction they're going. I hate their fucking livery. It just bothers me. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it. They're a team that's just aiming to make minute advances while everybody else around them is trying to make big leaps. They're kind of hampered. They're hamstring.
Let's just be honest, Nick. It's because it's white, isn't it?
No, I just like... There's nothing special, but like, you know that Sauber livery that you didn't really like, the green and blue one? The one in Vegas a couple of years ago?
Green and black?
No, they did the old Sauber, the Red Bull Sauber from the 90s. They did that green and blue one. This was late 2024.
Red Bull did a version of it.
I'll show you after.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, why didn't they do something like that? Just something like that pops. Right? Just something that sets them out. Something where they're trying to be original and different. Like, I don't like Zach Brown. He's a bull in a china shop in this European sport. He's an American who's just like, yeah, you know, like, but he's right about this. Like, this team is just kind of crap. And he's so tone deaf because he's a customer team, right? Like, that's the problem. But he's right. His synopsis is right. He's just tone deaf. I just don't like where this team is going. And I haven't got to the fucking drivers yet. So I'm gonna this original list assumed that driver error, and you were saying that might be null and void based on what you've relearned. So this may be a stupid pick, kind of like how you think Alpine might be an amazing or stupid pick. The drivers are terrible. You have Liam Lawson, who's in his second year, nobody knows, but he's already Kevin Magnussen at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, he started off as Kevin Magnussen, let's be clear.
Yeah, but everybody pretended like they didn't see it. And Arvid Lindblad, I don't know what this kid's going to be. I'm going to try and be nice. But really, what's the difference between him and Dino Beganovic?
All right, and I'll just put it out there. We had negative views of Isaac Hadjar, and he turned out to be good.
I understand. Yeah, I was going to say that too. Yeah.
The thing I keep going back to is in Monza last year in F2, Arvin rear-ended Alex Dunn very hard, very hard, and didn't know that he broke his front wing.
Yeah.
Did the entire safety car period without a front wing, and on the restart immediately caused another accident because he didn't know he didn't have a front wing. I don't know that that's an F1 quality driver.
We did say that about Isaac last year. So
For different reasons that
Yeah.
weren't that bad.
yes,
That to me is a very big problem.
anyone who finishes outside the top 3 in F2 is never that good, right? And people say, "Oh, well, Oliver Bierman, yeah, well, he was statistically the worst qualifier until."
But
Singapore.
again, up to a point, had more points in F1 than he did in F2 in
Yes.
the same season.
Yeah. I don't like this team. This is me hating on this team, quite frankly. I should be nice to them, but I just don't like where they're going. I don't like how every year they just come up and they don't know where they're going. And I just think that's gonna kill them this year. It's a bold take, I understand, but after a while, 2 bad drivers will take you down. Right? We saw that even with Haas, with Kevin Magnussen and Nico Hulkenberg the first year, right? Like, it doesn't matter how much experience, doesn't matter how good the car is supposed to be. After a while, 2 bad drivers will take you down a peg. And that's what I'm seeing with them. Yeah. Let's stop there before I go off about British bias and Arvid Lindblad. All right. You and I are on 2 completely different wavelengths finally. Like last 2 years, you and I have been kind of close with a few exceptions. This is 2 completely different lists going on right now. And I like that. Bless you, Sean.
Yeah, sorry, I'm dying over here for some reason. I don't know why.
Did you get another allergic reaction?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe. We'll see.
Okay, just don't die, because I'm tired.
Well, I don't actually know where my EpiPens are, so that'll be fun.
Let's get you some more whiskey. Yeah.
Okay.
No, if you need to pause, actually.
No, I think I'm okay now.
Okay, good. All right, so 9 and 8, who do you got?
9, I have Cadillac.
Good pick.
So, a couple of things we have to remember with Cadillac is that they are the new team.
Mm-hmm.
Audi is not the new team. Audi is the new engine, but Audi is Sauber. The facilities are there, the people are there. Sure, there are new people, and sure, they have to work with a team of engineers in Neuberg on the engine, but it's Sauber. Jonathan Wheatley's an old hand, former Benetton, former Renault, knows what he's doing, former Red Bull. Okay, Mattia Binotto.
Mm-hmm.
I have faith that Audi will do better, simply because of that. Cadillac is the brand new team. Everything is new. But they look reliable.
Mm-hmm.
They showed up in Barcelona, they showed up in Bahrain. They had their problems, but they were never sequestered in the garage for extended periods of time. It seems like their issues were finger trouble. New mechanics, new teams trying to work shit out, things go wrong. Yeah, a problem's going to pop up. They've got the Ferrari powertrain. It looks pretty good. Smaller turbo, spools faster. They take off like a rocket ship.
Wow.
That doesn't mean the chassis is anything. I do like what they named it. It's a very subtle fuck you to F1. I don't know if you saw it.
I didn't know.
It's the MAC 26. The Mario Andretti Cadillac 26.
Okay. Yeah. Fuck you, Cadillac. F1.
Right.
Yeah.
F1 didn't want the Andrettis,
Mm-hmm.
but they wanted Cadillac.
For some reason. Yeah.
So Andretti is in there still. Now, I think their livery needs a tweak. That's
Yeah.
a shit livery for that car, but
Yeah, I agree.
whatever. They're going to have some issues. They're going to struggle. Their drivers are not the strongest, but they're also not the worst.
Mm-hmm.
So I think ninth place is going to be a win for them this season.
Absolutely. Yeah. So behind them, you have Alpine and Austin, right?
Yes.
If you just, all things aside, just put every context aside, if you said a team had Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez versus Pierre Gasly and Franco Colapinto versus Fernando Alonso, Lance Stroll, which team do you think wins in that instance, right?
The one with Bottas and Paris.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's interesting that you like the Ferrari engine. I'm kind of intrigued there.
Like might be a strong word, but I think they've done something there.
Interesting. They don't look like the worst, right? And I think it seemed like testing, they were just running a program. They were just trying to iron the kinks out. They didn't care about lap times. They were just like, okay, what happens when we do this? What happens when we do that? Mm-hmm. And it's like, yeah, they were like on average 3 seconds, sometimes even 8 seconds off the pace. It's like, that's not a team that's pushing.
Right.
Giving everything, right? So.
Right. No, and that's just that they went out there, they did what they were going to do. They didn't let anybody goad them into doing any sort of glory runs or anything like that. And yeah, they stopped on track a bunch of times. But the car got recovered and they were back out in an hour or two. It's really not that much downtime when you consider, Kimi Antonelli, Alex Albon, George Russell, Max Verstappen, and Isaac Hadjar. Most of the rest of the grid had almost half a day that they were out due to problems in testing, right?
It's a big deal.
Massive amounts of laps, massive amounts of kilometers covered by everybody. But Cadillac didn't really have any of these big half-day, full-day time losses that the other teams did. Mm-hmm. They got out there, they ran what they needed to run. They were obviously trying to get their feet wet, figure out the pace, figure out relationships, everything else. And I'd say they nailed it. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't have huge hopes for them. Statistically, it's not likely that a brand new team is going to accomplish much. So, that's why I think they're in ninth.
Strong pick. And you make a good point. Yeah. And they themselves said, we don't care if we score points. Right? Like, I think that's them saying, like, if we do score points, it's a win. Like, small wins this year.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Perfect. 5 minutes exactly. Who do you got for 8th?
Audi. I think the engine is something to consider. It is brand new, and I'm sure Audi has been working on it long enough, and they have the people behind it to make sure it's reliable. It does seem to be reliable. They put in good mileage in testing without any major problems. Lap times, again, testing and all the caveats aside, lap times were up and down. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what that means. People have been saying the same thing. It sounds different and it smells different. Which sounds like a ridiculous thing. It smells different. What does that matter? It's these fuels. The fully sustainable fuel and where they're developing the energy for these fuels. One of those ways of getting that energy is through non-human biomass, basically manure. BP is doing something different with their fuel than Petronas, Shell, and I forget who's Red Bull's partner.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Anyway, they're doing something different. The rumor is they've got the largest turbo, which means Monaco, last place. Singapore, maybe just off the bottom. The less power-dependent circuits, they're not going to do well because the turbo's not going to spool up properly. They're going to have problems deploying that energy. So they will probably be handicapped there. But on the power-hungry circuits, there is a chance that we get some good results out of them because they're going to have more power than the rest of the team, the guys. So we'll see. I think it's an interesting prospect, and the rate at which they've developed in testing tells me that they're committed to actually taking the information and doing something with it. That car, I gave it a lot of shit in the launch because the show car looked like the F1 models, which to me said they haven't done anything with it. and it showed up in Barcelona looking similar to the show car, but then it showed up in Bahrain as a completely different car. And this isn't just new side pods, new body panels. This was a full fundamental change to the car, which means they developed the car to go to Spain, and before it even hit the track in Spain, they were redeveloping a car.
I believe you said OEM team trying to act like a Formula One team. I believe was the words after Barcelona.
An OEM manufacturer,
Yeah.
which was actually my words after the reveal.
Yes. Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, the Audi portion of it concerns me because obviously they're the money. They're the ones that are, controlling that. But I think the Formula One side of it, the Hinwheel side of it, has some merit behind it. We have to keep in mind that for a long time, Sauber wasn't even able to turn on their wind tunnel. They have a full wind tunnel. They have all the facilities they need to do their job. But there were years where they couldn't actually afford to turn the wind tunnel on because it draws so much power. And now they have the money to do that.
Leftover Sauber will propel this team in a way Audi can't in 26. You're thinking, yeah.
Maybe.
And my argument to that is Sauber is notoriously up and down.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a good take. I like this. I like that team. I do. I just think I think this year is a tough one. Where do you think? How do you think Hülkenberg and Bortoleto do this year?
I think it's going to be similar to last year. It'll be kind of an even split. When Hulk is bad, Bortoleto's decent. When Bortoleto's bad, Hülkenberg is, arguing for points and podiums potentially. I really would like to see Bortoleto do better than he did last year. So that's what I'm aiming for. I don't have the same sentiment you do towards him, but I do want to see him do better than Hülkenberg simply because I think he has what it takes to move on.
Agreed. Hülkenberg does have like this cult of personality behind him, and like you said last episode, the Germans will probably save him no matter what. But I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what Bortoleto can do this year. It's like I said, just if he can just beat Hülkenberg, I think he's fine. I think he's capable.
yeah.
All right, that's your 9th and 8th. Those are two good picks. Do you want to pause?
No, go ahead.
All right. 9th for me. Let's start the timer here. 9th, I have Austin. And remember, this is the original list. The original list for Austin had them 9th. So this is before the engine was shit. Before we found out how bad Austin was. My original idea was that this was how Alonso and Stroll talk themselves out of Formula One and drive themselves away. And that, like, no matter how much Newey gives them, they still fuck it up, which was more than capable. Now that testing's happened, now that we have all this new news and information, this is now looking like a really bold pick that they can finish this high. So in order to justify it, I'm just going to say that I think Newey will give them enough come mid-season to year end that they will be able to jump the bottom two teams. My idea is that Audi has reliability problems, speed problems at times. Like I know it's just testing, but they were the only team that couldn't hit 200 kilometers an hour without draining the battery. We saw that a few times in testing on the straight lines. Now, it's just Bahrain. It might be different in other instances, and they may not be using the engine that they bring to Australia. Well aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
Audi is a bold pick and last, I understand. RB, to me, the problem is the drivers. That doesn't matter how good the Red Bull engine is, and the Mercedes engines will be good. Maybe the Ferrari engines are even good. We don't know now. That the drivers will fuck it up. And then to me, Austin is that there's just going to be just enough development that they can get 20-ish points and finish 9th. Because to me, we're going to see a 2023 type of divergence where the bottom has barely any points, 6th is in no man's land, and then 5th on has the lion's share of the points.
Mm-hmm.
That's my thinking right here. So Austin doesn't need to do much towards the end to get to 9th. And I'd like to think with someone who's been in this sport now 24 years, on and off, that he's going to do enough to get 10 to 15 points. And maybe Lance Stroll gets points. I don't know. By the sounds of it and by the sounds of where his mentality is, for him to come out and say that they're 4 seconds behind and be proven right tells me he's mentally kind of checked out already. And it's not looking good. Yeah.
Yeah. So if I understand you correctly, your justification for this is that Nui is going to have people working around the clock until they get to a point where they can deliver something that is point scoring material.
Points, like 8 to 10, like in a fluke type of race, right?
Not Nick points.
Yes. I don't see them getting top 6s. You're right. But just enough, like over the last 10 races, we'll say that they can usurp RB. This is me grasping at straws at this point because, yeah, like everything you pointed out, it looks really bad for Austin right now. They're not in good shape.
I'm going to pull a Nick here. Maybe this was the grand plan, to get such a shitty result at the beginning of the season, because they finished 7th last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
The wind tunnel allocation rolls over mid-season. So get a really shit start at the beginning of the season so that they're in 10th place or 11th place so that they get the most wind tunnel allocation when it turns over, and then they can unleash Nui and development in the second half.
Bingo.
Okay. It's a take.
Yeah. That's all they got right now. That's all they can do.
That's the Hail Mary.
Yeah. Also, this is the real Nick take. That if you want control of the team, like you pointed out in toss-up with Nui, if you want real control of the team because you're part owner and you don't like these drivers, even though you pretend to like Fernando Alonso, the way to get rid of them is to make a car so shit that they leave, and then you start delivering with drivers you want.
All right.
And that's where my mind was at originally, that this would be enough to finally get rid of Stroll and Alonso.
Lightning take. Who do they take after Stroll and Alonso leave?
Charles Leclerc.
Okay.
Charles, yeah. Well, and then I need a second driver, right? Charles Leclerc. I think Charles is done at Ferrari. Second driver. Who wins F2 this year?
Why not Max Verstappen?
Why would Max leave a situation where he's complete control?
Maybe they're not worth it this year.
8th, Cadillac. This is once again another bold take, but this is where Haas finished in their first season, and I don't hate this team. Yeah, the livery is shit. Why they didn't go for black and gold when they had a perfect opportunity?
No, they can't do black and gold.
Because of Lotus?
Yeah, it's historically not. And there's a stigma behind it now. But look at their wet cars. Their wet cars look great.
I should look that up.
Cadillac has a colorful motorsport emblem.
Is it red and black, I think, like red, black, and white or something like
No, it's blue, white, and red.
that? Blue. No, America.
And yellow. They've got yellow in there.
Like I said, when you put them 9th, if you have Perez and Bottas, you're in good shape. You're in good shape in front of the teams that I put behind them, right? Like, I think Bottas starts really strong. That's what we saw at Alfa Romeo, right? Ferrari engine, new team, refreshed, ready to go, motivated. That's how Bottas does well. I think 8th is because of Perez. I think Perez comes online later. And I think Perez brings this team to another level that Bottas doesn't bring it to, right? Which is why I was kind of a little irritated that Bottas got signed, because look at it this way. Like, the situation, a Ferrari customer team, low development, barely good core of engineers, right? What's the worst that can happen if we put Valtteri Bottas? Well, we saw Alfa Romeo Sauber, them go to last, and he didn't score points. And that's the worry with Cadillac. But I think Cadillac is going to take him at the right time. I just think Perez comes in the second half and takes over the team. At least that's my hope. That's my wish, because I think that's what's best for them long term.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that they're celebrating Bottas and Zhou together again as if it's a good thing. I don't know if you saw that. They said when the second they signed Zhou as the reserve driver, they said, "Oh, Valtteri and Zhou are back together," and I'm like,
"Oh shit, that did happen, didn't it?"
Yeah, celebrating it, and I'm like, This did not end well. Like we don't have that short memories.
Yeah, I think that's more of a we need someone with F1 experience because Colton Herta's not going to do it for us.
I think if we talked about this in toss-up, if Cadillac is stupid, they might get rid of one of the two of them for Colton Herta if he does well in F2.
When he finishes F2, yeah.
Who is it, though? That's the question I have for the year. Is it Bottas or Perez?
It's going to be the low man.
That might be Perez if it's early in the season.
No, at the end of the day, they're going to want Colton Herta to finish F2 so that he can say that he did F2. So it's going to be next year. It's going to be 2027 when he comes in. You
think as a reserve?
No, as a full-time driver.
But so that's what I mean. So silly season usually starts mid this season, mid 2026. Mm-hmm. So is Perez behind Bottas at that point?
No, I don't think it matters. Cadillac has no pressure to do anything mid-season.
Oh, so you think this is a late season type of thing?
I think it's end of the season. We're going to get an announcement, and it's whoever's low man is out for Herta.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. To me, that's Bottas then. I think you're right. If they wait the whole season, they might see Perez. So this is actually the only switch I made. I actually had them 7th originally. I thought they were really going to overshoot, and I thought it was going to be because of driver experience that would push them over the edge.
You really went all out on that one.
I really did.
7th to 8th, I think.
Well, I don't want to spoil who I have in 7th yet because you're going first, but I just can't see, let's put it this way, I can't see one customer team beating the other when it's their first year.
Sure.
I finished with time to spare. Do you have any questions for me about this?
Not really a question. It's just your hatred for Zhou is on another level.
I don't hate him. He's just not good. Why do people celebrate him?
I don't think anybody's celebrating him. I guarantee you he's cheap, and he comes with a lot of money.
And he's managed by Graham Loden, too. Yeah. So it's both of them.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But I did mention the thing to you the other day that me at work, I'm getting pressure from GM to desource all Chinese and all Group D country suppliers. Mm-hmm. And here we are with Cadillac bringing in Chinese drivers, Chinese sponsorship money in motorsport.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Good job, GM.
Thanks for reminding me about that. That's the perfect representation of America right now, and like Cadillac, this Jekyll and Hyde attitude. This one side thinks one thing, the other side thinks another thing. Mm-hmm. Black and white makes most sense for this team.
Yes. And just to be clear, I'm not on board with what GM is doing. I have no problem with using Chinese suppliers. It's just the hypocrisy of the two sides of GM.
Yeah. America's just so divided. I applaud them wanting to be America, 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 like all in America, but like some things are not going to be in America. Just
can't.
Yeah. I know, like you took away the productive capacity for 50 to 60 years. Don't get upset if you can't produce some things in America, you know? All right, Sean, your last two, so 7 and 8. I'm excited for this.
7 and 6.
7 and 6, sorry. Whoops. No.
All right, let's go to the book. What do we have? We have Haas. 7.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
So they look quietly confident. I'll take Esteban Ocon as a, let's say, unknown entity this year. Mm-hmm. He's made some comments that were kind of stupid, that the cars are harder to race and he didn't like them. And then 2 days later, he's talking about how much of a rocket ship they are off the starts. So which is it, Esteban? Do you like it or do you not? Which I think is just what we've been talking about. He's not good at what he does, and he can't get on top of one thing or the other. So it doesn't really matter what he says. Behrman had some good results. Behrman seemed, in testing, I'm referring to, with this car. When you look at some of the apex shots that they were showing, so I think it was turn 8. Yeah, turn 8 in Bahrain. They had a drone basically just hovering over turn 8, watching the drivers go through that. His lines were consistent. They were nailed on every time, and his lap times weren't far off from anybody else. That car looks confident. It looks good. Nobody's been complaining about it. It's got the Ferrari powertrain, which I'm not going to really talk about it until we get to Ferrari because they designed it. But it does look like it's going to be something for them. And we talked about it the last couple years with Komatsu now. He seems to be pushing that team in a more development-focused way where they're going to come with regular updates, regular steps, and they're correlated and they work and they just do what they need to do. So 7th is not a great position, but for Haas, they're pushing their way back up that list. So I think it's a reasonable pick, and I hope that they actually do better. And again, this might be me being biased, wanting to see that partnership with Toyota lead to something more than it might. So that's where I am on it. I would welcome, though, a mid-season driver swap for Esteban Ocon for a Toyota-backed driver.
Ritomo Miyata, I think it is. Or?
Possibly, but I think there's even Hirakawa in there, and
yeah. I mix up the two of them, unfortunately.
Somebody. Anyway, there's like 6 Toyota-backed drivers that Haas has on rotation.
We can cut 5 minutes. I actually am in complete agreement. I also have them 7th.
All right.
They look good.
They do.
But testing means nothing. Right? And I think I actually had them lower originally, like I said, but because whenever Ferrari seems bad and the engines were looking bad for Ferrari pre-testing, Haas is usually struggling. Right? I had them as low as 9th in my head originally, but then I wrote down 8th or 7th. And I think that's going to be the biggest problem. If Ferrari's bad, they're not going to be that competitive. We've seen that over the years. And I think that'll push Komatsu towards Toyota. These two drivers can't do much for them, development-wise. You can only do so much for them. That being said, I see Oliver Behrman at Ferrari in 2027. Because it doesn't matter how good or bad he actually is.
If Charles Leclerc goes to Cadillac?
I said Austin.
Austin. If Charles Leclerc goes to Austin, I don't think they have another choice but to pull Behrman up.
They do, but they won't. They'll have choices, but they won't. They'll be stupid about it. He could be the next Eddie Irvine, though, where he's a number 2 to somebody else when both drivers leave.
There you go.
All right, who do you got for 6?
Racing Bulls. I somewhat share your sentiment on the drivers. They're not great. Liam has proven he can score points when he wants to, ? He is too prone to fighting people in positions where he has no business fighting. Right? If you're fighting Fernando Alonso for 10th place, sorry, that's a bad example. If you're fighting Fernando Alonso for 17th place, it's not worth fighting. If you're fighting Max Verstappen, you're in 9th and he's working his way from last to first, it's not worth fighting. He has a bad habit of doing shit like that. The people he should be fighting are Alex Albon, Carlos Sainz, Ollie Behrman, mid-pack. And he will fight those people, but he will fight everybody along the fucking way. Yeah. We could have an Esteban Ocon in Hungary situation where the only reason he's there is because everybody fucking pitted on the formation lap, and he's going to fight everybody down the pack until he hits 20th place. That's my problem with Liam Lawson. Arvin is an unknown entity at the moment. He needs to prove himself. I'm not going to comment much other than what I've already commented. The car looks all right. From what I've seen, this closer tie-up to Red Bull has helped them. And the Red Bull powertrain's engine looks good. I'm actually impressed with what I'm seeing out of that. It looks reliable. It looks strong. If what people are claiming about its ability to deploy and regenerate energy is true, it's probably one of the better engines on the grid. So I'm positive on them. I'm going to put them firmly mid-pack, but south of the top 5.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah.
I've actually done the research over the past I guess, more than 20 years that they've been in the sport. They've never finished higher than 6th.
So
This is so you're saying this is their peak this year?
it's their peak. Just because they haven't in their history doesn't mean they can't move up.
I agree. I wish they would. But how are you going to do that with 2 drivers like this? It doesn't matter. Like let's assume the Mercedes engines are the best, right? And all 4 Mercedes customer teams are just hogging the paint for the first 12 races, right? Where does that leave Racing Bulls? Pointless for the first 12 races, because that's 8, and then you have Red Bull, Ferrari, and then maybe Audi, maybe whoever. Haas, like they're not going to finish in the points, no matter where they are.
You have to consider, though, that even though we've seen good reliability in testing, come race weekends where they have to build a car every weekend, we're going to start seeing unreliability, right? Because they went to Barcelona, they built the car, and they sat there for a week and they tested and they did whatever they needed to. Then they had 2 weeks to go to Bahrain and build a car. And that one car did 2 weeks in Bahrain. And now we're going to go to Australia and they got to build a car. And they got to strip it down and they got to send it to China. And they got to build it and they got to strip it down and they got to send it to Japan. That's when we're going to start seeing the reliability issues. So you're right about the Mercedes thing. If that engine proves to be what people think it is, they may dominate. But you've got Williams mechanics, Alpine mechanics, Mercedes mechanics, McLaren mechanics, all doing different things. You're going to see stupid shit like hydraulic problems, fuel pickup problems, all that knocking people out.
From them too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But this is where I think we can't focus on how teams have been historically at this level of regulation change.
That's fair. I just hate them.
And you're entitled to hate.
No, I really don't have another argument other than that. Yeah, I just don't think they're that good. I think they will always be the problem, Lindblad and Lawson. But we will see.
Yes.
All right. Anything else you want to add to that?
No, I think I'm good for that one.
All right. 6th, I have Alpine, and my first note is maybe higher, but like you said perfectly, it's Alpine. Can you really put them above, say, the other 5 teams we're going to list in the second half?
No.
It's kind of hard, right? I think this will be very welcome for them. I think this is all Pierre Gasly, and that's really all I could think right there. I think we saw even last year, like, good, decent point scoring finishes from Pierre, even when they sucked. So I think with a decent engine behind them, a decent platform, he understands the car. I think we'll see quite a few good points finishes. I can see them being Alpine 2023, where they're just kind of in the middle of nowhere. Not close to 5th, not close to 7th. I don't think that's because of Franco, though.
No, it's definitely not. And I think you're not far off.
Yeah.
I personally think Alpine on my list is low. I don't have a lot of confidence that they're going to be there. But I think that your position for them is too high also.
Yeah. That's it. It's kind of like how I feel about Audi, right?
Yeah.
I think you have them too high, but I'm not confident with them at the bottom. Flavio says no more excuses this year. I think he really thinks they'll get a podium. I don't see that.
I think Flavio's too old for this sport now. I'm assuming you've watched at least some of Drive to Survive.
No, I haven't.
No?
I haven't had a chance yet.
There is an entire episode dedicated to Flavio. If you watch nothing else, go watch that episode.
I was going to sit the newborn down, and me and her were just going to shit all over everybody together. So I think that's the play at one point.
Yeah, there is a scene in that episode of Flavio and Franco that I think you will get a real hard-on for.
Will it get my butthole wet? I have to use every orifice in this episode. Yeah.
It's not a picture that I want, Nick.
What do you guys think? Do you think we're way off base on this? Do you think we suck? Is Nick as stupid as he seems?
Yes.
Okay.
If you're out there, let us know. Who's our super fan there? Joseph Naran?
Yeah. What do you think? Give us your list, man. And we want everybody to get the list. We don't just want him. We want everybody telling us what they think. And we'll respond.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll keep it civil. Unless I have a few drinks in me. All right. We'll be back for part 2 from 5th to 1st.